with all these questions remaining about how on earth the algorithm continues and whether we all remain 170 million US users using it as much, what are advertising decisions being made right now?
Advertisers in a wait-and-see mode. Right now, it is still commonplace for TikTok, and we're actually seeing all-time high traffic. In September 1st, 20% of total traffic from advertisers was allocated to TikTok. If we date back to Q1, it was 10%. So people still see TikTok as a place to build brand and drive performance all at once. That being said, major advertisers have contingency plans. The moment that TikTok America is created, I don't think we're going to see traffic at 20%. These major advertisers are going to wait to see if the user base is still there, if the engagement is still there, and if the ad performance results are still there. If those things are to be true, then absolutely you'll see dollars move into TikTok America. But in the meantime, you're going to probably see a short-term boom to environments like Meta and Alphabet, where there are other places to invest your short-form video ad dollars.
How is this going to impact efficiencies for brands? Because at the moment, you can go to one platform and have global reach. That's going to be really important for some of these global companies if they have to silo off a US-targeted ad versus global.
Absolutely. There's a domino effect here. A lot of these major advertisers, they have these global joint business plans in place where they're guaranteeing ad dollars across multiple geographies. Advertisers have major question marks. Are those agreements going to be thrown out the window? And then from the actual operating standpoint, there has been a single platform to do buying, measurement, and optimizations. It is unclear now if advertisers are going to have to log into multiple platforms. And then, Carolyn, for your point, what are the results going to be? Which is why major advertisers, they have choices. They can go invest dollars in other places. It's the SMB businesses that have been heavily reliant on an environment like TikTok or Amazon, where they might go all in, but if they don't see those results, I promise you, you're going to see dollars move out of that environment back into places like Meta and Google.
Rachel, what we do know from the reporting is that there will be a retraining or even from the ground up rebuild of the algorithm. How worried are people in your community and your network that basically removes what makes TikTok good for them? That the algorithm is not as effective as it currently is when Oracle has been able to review it and change it?
Yeah, it's less about the algorithm and it's more about, will user engagement still hold? And will the effectiveness of the ads, meaning the cost per impression or the cost per click or the cost per sale, will those hold? If those things don't hold, you will see dollars move out. So the algorithm is a mechanism to make those things true, but what advertisers are really concerned about is results.
What Bloomberg has reported is that ByteDance is still going to get 50% of the profits from a US TikTok, and that MGX, a state-backed investment vehicle of the UAE, is one of the anchor investors. If you're a content creator on TikTok or you're an advertiser on TikTok, do you care about either of those considerations?
If you're an advertiser on TikTok and you're a global brand, I'm talking Fortune 1000 brands, you care about two things. You care about performance, but then you also care about brand safety. And so if they don't feel that their concerns are being addressed by this new ownership structure around brand safety, then yes, they will care. If they believe it's being addressed, then it's irrelevant to them. Creators care more about the culture and the community. Will the community still stay in TikTok? Will the vibe still be the same? They don't really care about the ownership structure as long as the community engagement is there.
Let's talk about a name that you said that maybe will be benefiting amid all of this, and is Meta, and the move to Instagram in this moment by advertising dollars. But what's happening in Europe at the moment is interesting with Meta as well, and the UK, and being forced to basically add a subscription offer rather than offering just advertising. How are advertisers looking at that? How much do they anticipate people will go for an ad-free version of Instagram?
I love what's happening right now because we can look at MikMak's data globally. We do operate globally, and it's really interesting. The laws that are taking place in the EU and UK when it comes to advertising is way more stricter than the US. And as a result, platforms like Meta have struggled in recent years in those environments. In 2023, Meta had to introduce the same ad-free tier in the EU. And there's been no public data whether users have adopted that or not. The only thing that we've seen happen is that the price per tier come down, which is a signal that maybe adoption was initially there. Fast forward, the UK government is adopting very similar rules as the EU, where they're putting very strict guardrails in place and how platforms can target users. And essentially, you have to opt in 100%. And if you don't opt in 100%, then you have to pay for an ad-free tier. What's interesting is that right now in the UK, 75% of ad investment is happening in Meta. Meanwhile, in the EU, it's closer to 36%, which is another signal that if this happens in the UK, you're going to start to see ad diversification outside of Meta into other platforms. So it's actually the reverse of what's happening in the US. In the US, opportunity for Meta to grab market share. In the UK, they might actually lose market share right now.